Hey, so check this out. So I was recently doing some research for some pay-per-click advertising for a client, a personal injury attorney in New York, and I started noticing that the clicks were extremely expensive. Anyone who's done pay-per-click advertising knows that the clicks, if you're a personal injury attorney, construction accident lawyer in New York is over $200 per click. It's crazy. So I started thinking, what is a different way that we can spend, that we can reach more people and basically make our dollars go further. And I was in an Uber one day and it hit me. Why not use Uber to market your law firm? So I am going to show you how to do that right now.
Okay, so this is the presentation of how to use Uber to market your law firm. Now, Uber can also be synonymous with Lyft, which is another service similar to Uber. I think Lyft is a little cheaper, and actually Lyft is what I use when I travel. But Uber, Lyft, people know it as Uber, so that's what this course is called, how to use Uber to market your law firm. Now, as I discussed before, I was doing some research for PPC pricing, and this is just a chart showing you, this is a screen grab from Google. As you can see here, some pretty common search terms. Personal injury attorney suggested bid is $133.40. Divorce lawyer is $32. Car accident lawyer is $209. DUI lawyer $81. Criminal defense lawyer $45. Now, these are going to vary by city to city, and also depending on your expertise, how good you are at running AdWords or how good your marketing company is at running AdWords. I like to think that I'm better than most at running AdWords, and I can get these clicks to a lot cheaper than this. But still, for something like car accident lawyer where the bid is $209, I'm probably still around, I don't know, $80 to $100 per click, just depending on the city I'm in and some of the optimization and some of the competition. So even if you have somebody who knows what they're doing with PPC, this is still a very expensive endeavor. The other thing is that with PPC leads, you don't get, every click doesn't equal a lead. It might be 4 or 5 clicks per lead, just depending on kind of the market and different things like that. So you end up spending a lot of money for each lead, and PPC advertising, especially if you're in a major competitive market, can get very expensive very quickly. And that's kind of why I came up with, I started thinking about different ways that we can spend money to generate more leads than PPC. So the general strategy with this is that you're going to provide a driver who drives for Uber or Lyft with a car that is wrapped with your law firm's branding, with your name, your phone number, your practice areas, all that kind of stuff. You're going to pay for the car, you're going to pay for the maintenance, and you're going to pay for the insurance. Now, obviously you own the car, so you're going to pay for the car, but you want to pay for the insurance because you want to make sure that yourself is, or that your law firm is covered, that you're covered, that the car is covered. You also want to pay for the maintenance of the car to make sure that it actually gets done. You're going to tell the driver that they're responsible for paying for gas. That is their only expense for this entire thing, which is a pretty sweet deal for them. You probably want to you want to come to an agreement with a driver where they're going to drive a minimum number of hours and miles per week. This will ensure that the car is actually getting out there and that your branding is actually getting out there. If they're only going to drive 10 hours a week, it's probably not going to be worth it for you. You want somebody that, they really do a lot of driving, 40 hours a week, maybe ideally, or more. But it's obviously going to depend on each situation and everything, but you want to make sure that you have an agreement that they're going to drive a minimum number of hours or a minimum number of miles. Now, this benefits the driver because they get a free car to drive for Uber. I was in Las Vegas back in November, and I took a Lyft, and I was talking to the driver, and she actually is in a program that Lyft has where Hertz, the rental car company, rents cars for drivers to use for Lyft. She pays $250 a week for this car, and it was like a Hyundai Sonata or something. I mean, so she's paying $1,000 a month for, she's basically paying for a Tesla or some really nice luxury car, and she's getting a Hyundai Sonata that that she doesn't even own. She's renting it. So this, when you compare what some drivers are doing when they need a car to get around for Uber and Lyft, I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. So they get a free car to drive, and if they do have their own car, they don't have to put wear and tear on their car, they don't have to put miles on their car, all that kind of stuff. You get a free moving billboard, or I shouldn't say free, you get a moving billboard that basically is somebody that's driving a car around that has your branding all over it around the entire city. for 40 hours a week or whatever it is. If you price out those moving billboards that I'm sure you've seen, they're going to cost way more than you're going to see this. Then at the end of this strategy, you're going to see, or at the end of this presentation, you're going to see how much this strategy costs. So it's really a win-win for both you and the driver. You get a ton of advertising. You get somebody to drive this advertising, this billboard all around the city for you. The driver gets a car. Now, the other thing that's nice about this is you get a nice tax write-off. So you'll have to talk to your accountant about this. I know with taxes, you can either write off the cost of the car and the maintenance, or you can write off per mile, I believe is how it works. It used to be 41 cents a mile. I don't know what it is now. I don't know what it is, but when you're actually watching this video. But if you drive, I mean, if 30,000 miles get put on this car, let's see, times 0.41, that's a $12,000 write-off right there. So talk to your accountant about this, but it's definitely a nice benefit where you also get the tax write-off for this. So the 4 steps that you're going to need to follow to execute this strategy. First, you're going to need to buy a car. Second, you're going to need to insure the car. Third, you're going to need to wrap the car. And fourth, you're going to need to find a driver. So why use this method? Well, honestly, I've been racking my brain and I cannot think of a cheaper way to advertise your law firm. We already showed how expensive pay-per-click can be. SEO, I'm sure you know, is expensive. It takes a long time. Buying a billboard costs you thousands of dollars per month. I've bought billboards before, and they can range anywhere from $1,200 a month all the way up to $50,000 a month, depending on where they are. But this is kind of similar to advertising on the side of a city bus. That can cost anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 per month. There's just so many methods of advertising out there, and I cannot think of one that reaches more people for less money than this. If you can think of one, let me know, because I just can't think of one. This is a win-win situation for both you and the driver. The driver gets a car that they can drive. They don't have to put mileage on their own car. They're saving money, and you're getting somebody that's driving your moving billboard all around the city. It's a win-win for everybody. It's a great branding opportunity. You're getting your name, your picture, your face, all that you're getting out there. And I mean, imagine if, this is great if you just have one car. Imagine if you had 4 or 5 cars and you're in a busy place, in Chicago or New York or Los Angeles, and you're just in areas where people are just going to start seeing your face and your name and know your law firm over and over and over again. The other nice part about this is that this will continue to benefit you. This will continue to benefit your firm for years, even after the car is paid off. So a lot of times, and I'll kind of show you what I recommend as a car that's anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. Some people are going to finance the car. Most people are probably just going to pay cash for the car. In the grand scheme, $10,000 to $15,000 isn't that much money. Once the car is paid off, whether you finance it or whether you just pay it off, it's an asset that you own that you can keep using and keep using and keep using for years. Maintain that car. We're going to talk about what type of car to buy, but you maintain that car for a long time and it's going to last you for a long time. And then when you're finished with it, it's an asset that you own that you can sell or you can trade in for another car. So there's a ton of benefits to this in you being the actual owner of this vehicle. So step 1, you need to buy a car. CarMax is a great resource. I know they're not everywhere, but I think they're pretty much all over the country. I know they're in most major markets. What I suggest is a Toyota Camry. I think you should get a reliable make and model. In my opinion, Toyota Camrys are very reliable. Obviously that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, then obviously go with your opinion. But on the left here, I took a screen grab. You can get a 2013 Camry for $12,998 with 62,000 miles, a 2011 for $12,500 with 40,000 miles. I'd probably skip the 2008, so that's 10 years old right now. But as you can see, you've got low mileage, a low mileage Camry, 40,000. And for a Toyota, I mean, look, you maintain a Toyota, it's going to last you forever. So that's why it's important for you to handle the maintenance and not put that on the driver. But bottom line is you can get a decent car for a decent price. So a lot of people are going to pay it off. If you're going to finance it, I got a loan calculator down here. Say you're going to borrow $14,000 over 72 months. That's $225 a month. Not too bad. Make sure you get a car that has 4 doors and has a large trunk. 4 doors, obviously, because it's going to be used for lift, and large trunk because obviously people go to the airport, they have luggage, they have bags, things like that. So make sure that you get something that can actually accommodate for Lyft, Uber, things like that. Now, when you insure the car, now keep in mind, I'm not going to go too detailed on insurance here because insurance requirements vary state by state. If you are a personal injury attorney, you're going to know way more about the insurance requirements in your state than I'm going to, so I'm not even going to pretend to try to know about that. Now, I do know that as of this video, Uber and Lyft insurance covers from when the ride is accepted by the driver to when the passenger gets out of the car. So there's a couple things there. There's going to be a lot of time that the driver is waiting for a ride to show, or waiting for a job, or just driving to or from, or whatever. That's not covered by Uber and Lyft. I also don't know what the limits are for Uber and Lyft. I would think that you want some sort of policy that's going to cover everything. You do need to make sure that you have rideshare insurance, though. I've called around a couple companies, and a lot of companies actually don't cover rideshare. So you want to make sure that you get a commercial policy that's going to cover rideshare. It's, all that kind of stuff. You really need to do your homework on this one. Insurance policies change frequently. So just make sure that you kind of cover your bases there. The estimated cost on this that I got when I called around and got quotes, and I'm in Florida, was $200 per month. So again, not terrible. Now you're going to wrap the car. Now this is an important one because this is what people are actually going to see. So on the right here is a car that I found. I just did a Google image search for law firm car wrap. And I found the Schwartz law firm in New Orleans. I'm not sure if they're a real law firm or not. What I don't like about this wrap on the side, or I'm sorry, on the back, is that they have the Road to Justice, David versus Goliath, Christopher Schwartz, and then on the bumper they've got the phone number and the website. I think that you need to be very, very clear about what your firm is and what you do and who you help on the back of the car, because a lot of the people that are going to see you, that are going to have the opportunity to call you, are going to be sitting right behind you in traffic, or they're going to be, so stopped at a traffic light behind the car. They're going to see the billboard in front of them, or see the advertising in front of them. You want to make sure that it's very clear what you do. You don't want to leave it up to, the Road of Justice, David versus Goliath. Who knows what that is? I know that I can probably assume that it's a personal injury attorney, different things like that. I see lawyerschwartz.com on the bumper, but I would not leave it to people to try to figure it out. Make sure that it is very clear. So when you wrap the car, most companies will design the wrap for you and they'll include it in the cost. I called around, and including the graphic design, this should cost you anywhere from $1,250 to $1,750 for a Toyota Camry, and that includes the design, installation, and the printing of the wrap. So again, not terrible. So now, how do you find a driver? Okay, so first thing I would do is I would ask friends, family, and employees if they know anybody that might be interested in this, because that's going to be, you want somebody that's kind of reliable. So if you can find somebody through that approach, that's probably going to be your best option. If that doesn't work, I would say look in Facebook groups. And you see the graphic on the right here. I just searched Uber drivers of, and then I'm in Florida. I'm actually in Lakeland, so I got areas near me. So I got Orlando, Tampa, Charlotte, South Florida, Atlanta, Columbia, South Carolina, New Orleans. But I guarantee you every major city, and probably most smaller cities, have Uber drivers of something. And if not, then there's going to be other groups of Uber drivers that you can find. Go in there, find a driver, or put a post in there, and I'm sure you'll find more drivers than you have cars for. Last option is posting that on Craigslist. I'm not a fan of Craigslist. I think you get kind of shadier people on Craigslist. But again, not everyone's like that. I've hired people from Craigslist before. So those are my 3 suggestions. Now, obviously, when you find a driver, you're going to need to make sure that you that you have an agreement with them. You're an attorney. I'm not going to tell you about that. You need to obviously have something in writing. Come to an agreement, make sure everything is spelled out very, very clearly. Maybe you want to do a background check on this person, see their driving record, different things like that. You're going to kind of have to do your due diligence on that and get to where you're comfortable with the entire situation. But, and that's again why ask friends, family, and employees might be your best option, because now, you can, a family member is probably not going to recommend somebody who's very untrustworthy or likely to screw you over in any way. So here are the estimated costs on this. Now, this is assuming that you finance the car for 72 months. A lot of people are just going to pay it off. But if you finance the car for 72 months, it's going to be $225 a month. Insurance will be $200 a month, roughly. Wrapping the car, I just broke it down over 72 months, and this is the $1,700 wrap. That's $24 a month. And then maintenance, give or take, is going to be about $40. So your total monthly cost is going to be around $489. Call it $500 a month. And that is way better than how much you're going to have to pay for a lot of these markets for pay-per-click advertising. And I really cannot think of a way that you will reach more people for less money. And if you can think of one, please let me know, because I would love to implement it for my clients. Now, also, I have not, full disclosure, I have not had anyone implement this yet. I am dying to see this work. I would love to see somebody do this. I've pitched it to some clients of mine that love the idea, and they just kind of haven't done anything with it. So if you do implement this, please send me a picture of your car. Send me everything. I want to hear about it. I'm really excited about this, and I've got a special surprise I'll send the first person that actually does this. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email, leave a comment, and good luck with this. Thanks.